alert for anyone that's still left. Let me do that one more time. Spoilers. I'll put this up in this corner. There you go, right there. Spoiler alert for anyone who is joining after this point. Because I'm going to go and tear some things apart. I'm not going to go terribly deep into it. I still want you guys to see the movie. But I'm going to be looking at some of the aspects that they put forth in the movie, where those actually come from, where the sources are for those, and why they were right. So without further ado, let's dive on into this. So starting off the movie, you start off with a public execution on the main character. Oh boy, that's a place to start. It's one of these normal storytelling where it's like, this is how we got here. And then it goes ahead and rewinds and backs up. So they have they're demanding that he converts to Islam under threat of damnation because he's going to get executed one way or the other. That doesn't determine it. I thought at this point it kind of did. Like, if he converted to Islam, does he get off and not get shot? Or no, it's just they're saying you can go to heaven if you just convert. Just convert. That way you are assured heaven. And I'm like, you don't know your Quran very well. You get a coin flip, man. You get a coin flip unless you're dying for Allah's cause. So it goes ahead and rewinds back. We follow the main character on his way to a graduation party for his friend's daughter. His friend's Muslim, and his daughter's a Muslim. So they show up at the party. People are drinking. This is where the alcohol comes in. It's the only alcohol scene, I think, in the entire movie. Because everything else is extremely fast-paced after this point. I think this was like the slowest part of the movie. Then it's like, boom, 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 boom. Hurry up. It's a really high-paced movie. You got to pay attention to the details. So they show up at this party. They come in. The main character's friend, that is Muslim, immediately calls the main character his infidel friend. His infidel friend. And that makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck right there when I hear that. Because I know the Quran. And I know what it says in Quran 5:51. It says, "O ye who believe, take not the Jews and the Christians for your friends and protectors. They are but friends and protectors of each other. And he amongst you that turns to them for friendship is of them. Verily, Allah guideth not a people unjust." That is again Quran 5, verse 51. So no, that is not the only way that he would be able to call him a friend, according to Sharia law, according to Islamic teachings, would be he's already practicing taqiyya, which is lying in such a way that makes Islam look better. So now I didn't know at this point how they're going to take it. So I didn't know if they're going to try to paint him as like the perfect Muslim. This is what Muslims should be. And then later we're going to see extremist Muslims, which again, I have a problem with the whole term extremist Muslim because those are actually Muslims. The only ones that are not following the Quran are the ones that are peaceful. So, although I work much better with the ones that are peaceful, obviously. So I prefer not to get my head cut off. And yes, I have my lovely mug. Fantastic. To join me on this one. So, as this continues, as the party continues, you start seeing the guest of honor, a young Muslim woman, looks like she's about 18. She's dancing. She has a boyfriend that her father doesn't agree with. Kind of the main character doesn't agree because he's not a nice person. Let's just say that. He's not a nice person. He's very rude. But she's dancing, which again, if you see my Sharia law videos, that's a violation. Definitely, she's dancing to Western music, which is a violation, again. And she's not wearing a veil, which is, again, a violation. So we're like, in this, and the guy's calling friend, and I'm looking at this like, look over my wife, say, they violated Sharia law 4 times so far, and we're not even 5 minutes into this video. So either they are really doing this whole taqiyya thing and lying, or this movie is going to be one that holds Muslims up as being these outstanding persons, and the only ones that do killing or beheadings are ones who are misinterpreting what Muhammad is saying. Need to say, it's not the case. So later that night, they leave the party. Everything's fine. Leave the party. The main character's wife gets called by the Muslim woman who is the wife of the friend. She's very, very concerned about her daughter who has gone missing. She alleges that her daughter has gone missing right after the party. She went out with her boyfriend and have not come back, which again is a violation. Because under Sharia law, you have to go with a male adult that has power over you, basically, for a woman to go out. And it's very inappropriate for a woman to go out with a guy. You find out throughout this that she's not actually missing. The father has her tied up in the basement and he kills her. This is the first instance where I really, in this movie, thought, okay, crap's going to get serious. We have an honor killing right here. And if you know the Quran, have you read the Quran and the Hadith, you know that over and over and over again, Muhammad would have people killed that would disgrace him. In fact, if we look at Sharia law, we find in Sharia law that the following are not subject to retaliation. A father or mother, or a father or their father or mother, so grandparents or parents, for killing their offspring or their offspring's offspring. So parents can kill the kids. And upon honor killings, that is allowed and permitted under Sharia law because you're bringing disgrace to the family. So either your parents or your grandparents can kill you, and there's nothing the law will do about it. So, but the main character shows up at his friend's house. The police are there. He goes and looks through, sees what's going on. They show him the basement, and this guy is a terrorist who has pictures up. He has Islamic flags up. He's going full Sharia going, pictures of him with bazookas, with guns, kill the infidel, terrorists, recruitment tapes. He's got tapes of beheadings. So at this point, I was like, yeah, they're right. He's practicing taqiyya. Okay. So his friend was the one that was trying to convince him that the main character is a blogger who talks on forums and writes a blog that a lot of people follow. So that's why what the main character's thing is. And his friend basically convinced his friend, who is obviously a terrorist, convinced him that he should go to Cairo and talk, and all of the Muslims are the same. They're all kumbaya. This would be just great. You go there, everyone can hold hands and just agree. Very westernized view of Islam. Very, very westernized view of Islam. So, and for some reason, after this whole thing happens, and his friend's a terrorist, and he sees this stuff firsthand, he's like, sure, I'll go. I'll still go to Cairo. I'll still go to Cairo. That sounds like a great idea. I know this guy just told me it, and his daughter's like really missing. And a couple weeks later, they just like disappear off the face of the earth. But hey, I'll still go to Cairo. That sounds like a great idea. Oh, it's a bad idea. So, oh, geez. So he goes to Cairo. He's on there. He goes before on TV. they are all thinking that he's just going to go there and support the concept that they're trying to push, which Islam is the same as Christianity, which anyone that studied the Bible and the Quran know that that's not the case. Very plainly not the case. But he goes to Cairo and he says, oh, he goes up in front of everyone and says, okay, I believe in Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior. He's just explains basic Christian doctrine from his point of view based upon what he believes. And if you understand how Islam is really a ruling religion, a religion that is built to be a government and to control people, you find that's not only a threat to the people who are following the Quran, but also to all those who are there, all those who are in control, in power. So he goes back and gets kidnapped, gets taken, and starts getting tortured. So, but why? Here's the next point I really want to focus on, and I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker, just to try to wrap this up in a bite-sized chunk more than something that's terribly huge. Why is it okay for Muslims to torture Christians? We find this in the Quran 98:6. Indeed, they who disbelieve among the people of the scriptures, referring to Jews and Christians, and the polytheists, will be in the fire of hell and abide eternally in there. Those are the worst of creatures. So the lowest thing in creation are Christian, Jews, and polytheists. Are the lowest of creatures. According to the Quran, again, that's 98:6. So that's why they can justify whether torturing him, they're trying to get him to confess. What he said on national television has caused quite an uproar, quite a massive uproar. So his wife says she works for the government. I think it was the FBI. She said they don't seem to be doing anything, so she just packs up, takes off, flies out to Cairo after receiving a message from him, and decides, I'm going to find him all by myself. Yay, woman power. Let's go find him all by myself, except they don't respect women there at all. So she decides, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go take care of it. I'm going to just walk around the city and find him all by myself. And this is the last major thing I wanted to focus on, because the rest is just falling action, mostly based on the verses I've already mentioned. During this, she goes through an attempted rape. They try to rape her. And the question is, does the Quran support rape? We find this again in Quran 4:24. And also prohibited to you are all married women except those your right hand possesses. And this is the declaration of Allah upon you. So don't have sex with married women except for those your right hand possesses. Now, what does that mean? What does right hand possess? That context is where it's really at. We do find this in the hadiths. Looking through them, we find that the story basically took place after a massive battle where Muhammad's men have taken men and women, and they had women who were set apart to be sold into slavery, but their husbands were right there. And the Muslim men didn't want to rape the women in front of their husbands. They're like, no, we won't do that. And Muhammad comes out and said, why not? Here's a revelation from Allah. Those women married women except those your right hand possesses. So yeah, go. And they proceed to rape them in front of their husbands. So yes, does the Quran support rape? Yes, absolutely. Does it condone it? Yep. Does it teach it? Yes. So now you could say, well, she can just go to the police, right? She can go to the police. She can say, hey, this is what happened. Boom, boom, boom. Like in the United States. I know they claim we have rape culture here. I know they claim that, but yeah, right. That's not true. But in that country, in Muslim countries, they do have a rape culture. They do have justification for rape, mostly found in the Quran 282. Now, this is dealing with laws and how to do contracts, and I won't go into the whole thing because it's very long. But to sum it up, the woman's part legally is that she has half the authority that men do. So it requires two women in order to overrule one man. So if she were to come out and say, hey, they raped me, she would have to have multiple witnesses that were there firsthand in order to support her claim, or it would be discarded. So after that's mostly falling action with them trying to get in there. There is an imam, I think he was. I don't know. He didn't specifically say. I'm just thinking he was. That was very pushy on trying to get him to convert, putting this all up as a show. It's very obvious that's all a political show that he's just putting on. And that's all they're being used for. She finds out that it's not just the government, that's not a terrorist group that's holding her husband, that it is actually the government itself that is holding him captive, and forcing him to, torturing him in order to try to get him to admit that he is a spy. That he is a spy, therefore discounting everything he said in the interview and getting him to convert to Islam. So forcibly converting. Again, if you look at the history of Islam, definitely the first couple of rightly guided caliphs, you see a lot of that going on. That's how Islam spread as fast as it did. A couple other mentions, they actually show Jews as a good people. Israel is actually a good group in this, which is fantastic, and nice change of pace. And that the Christians were also depicted as what they are in the Middle East, which is forced into submission. I mean, you know that in the Quran 9 verse 29, if memory, I didn't actually have this one written down, where it says that Jews and Christians have to pay the jizya and feel themselves submitted. So they have to get approval for stuff. I've talked to Christians who are in areas that are ruled by Muslims. They have to get approval to do churches. That's very rarely ever approved. They have to get approval to gather. They have to get approval to just even do a small Bible study. Gather in any way, shape, or form. They have to get approval by the government for it. And the stuff, it really paints a big picture between Sharia law nations and the nation of freedom that we share here in the United States. Hey, Brad's online. My father-in-law jumped on. Okay, so I will go ahead and switch over after this. That's the end. What I have for this movie. Again, I'd highly recommend it for anyone that wants to see this. It's a good movie, just a standalone by itself. It's very nice that they actually get it accurate. Yeah? Is it going around and around?
High five! Daddy tickle you! He's gonna get you! Ah! Angelo, high five! He's like holding on for his life.
It's really confusing.
And also getting off, yeah.
Down? Good. Fine.